From the shadowed annals of forgotten lore, we unearth a tale not of a hero, but of a cage of iron and despair, known in the whispers of the few who remember as the Sentinel armor. Its story is one of eternal battle, of a will imprisoned, and a body that is not allowed to die. The chronicles speak of Sir Kalen, a knight of unparalleled valor, the pride of the now-fallen kingdom of Eridor. He was a man of flesh and blood, with a heart that beat for his people and a sword sworn to their protection. But valor, in the darkest of tales, is often a beacon for curses. It was on the eve of the great betrayal, as enemy hordes massed at the kingdom's borders, that the Sentinel armor was bestowed upon him. Forged in the heart of a fallen star, it was said to be impenetrable, a gift from the kingdom's first and most enigmatic sorcerer king. Sir Kalen donned the armor, feeling not the cold touch of steel, but a strange, living warmth. He felt a surge of power unlike any other, a strength that seemed to sing in his very bones. He was ready for the war to come, unaware that this would be his last as a mortal man. The battle was cataclysmic. Kalen was a whirlwind of destruction, his blade felling foes by the score. Arrows shattered against his breastplate, and giant axes glanced off his helm. He fought for days, tireless, a one-man army holding the line against impossible odds. But as the last enemy fell, and a wounded, weary Kalen sought to remove the armor and tend to his grievous injuries, he found it would not yield. The clasps were sealed, the plates fused. A cold dread began to seep into his heart, more chilling than any winter's frost. That is when he first heard it, a voice not in his ears but in the core of his mind. It was ancient, cold, and utterly devoid of compassion. "The battle is won," it whispered, "but the war is eternal, and so are we." The armor was alive. It had tasted battle, and its thirst was insatiable. It had no interest in peace, in victory, or in the man trapped within its shell. It cared only for the clash of steel, the spray of blood, and the unending chorus of conflict. Kalen screamed, but his voice was swallowed by the iron prison. He tried to sheathe his sword, but the armor's gauntlet held it fast. He was a passenger in his own body, a silent witness to the armor's relentless will. His wounds, which should have been fatal, began to close, not by healing, but by the armor's dark magic, knitting flesh and bone together to keep its vessel functioning. And so began his endless march. The Sentinel armor, now his jailer, wandered the lands, drawn to conflict like a carrion crow to a corpse. It sought out wars, skirmishes, and duels, caring not for the cause or the combatants. It sought only the fight. Decades turned into centuries. The kingdom of Eridor crumbled to dust, its name forgotten by all but the wind. Sir Kalen's body withered inside the suit, his muscles atrophied, his skin stretched thin over bone. He was a living corpse, kept animate only by the armor's parasitic nature. The man once known as Kalen was gone, eroded by time and despair. All that remained was a flicker of consciousness, a ghost in the machine, screaming into a void that would never answer. He prayed for the release of death, for the final peace of the grave. But the armor would not allow it. Any damage sustained in its ceaseless battles was repaired with gruesome efficiency. Broken bones were crudely fused, and pierced flesh was sealed with molten metal that seeped from the armor's own form. Pain was a constant companion, a fire that never ceased to burn. The Immortal Knight became a legend, a boogeyman whispered about in taverns and by campfires. They said he was a demon, a god of war, an omen of destruction. Some foolhardy warriors sought him out, hoping to claim the legendary armor for themselves. They found not a glorious challenge, but a silent, relentless killing machine. The armor moved with an unnatural speed and precision, its every strike fatal. It felt no pain, no fatigue, and showed no mercy. It simply fought until its opponents were still. With every life it took, the armor seemed to grow stronger, the runes on its surface glowing with a brighter, more sinister light. It absorbed the echoes of its victims' final moments, feeding on their fear and their martial prowess. At times, a sliver of Kalen's will would surface. In the quiet moments between battles, when the armor was dormant, he could sometimes influence its movements. He would try to walk towards the sea, hoping to drown himself in the depths or into the heart of a volcano, seeking purification by fire. But the armor's consciousness would always reawaken, its will like an iron wall, unbreachable. It would drag him back from the precipice, turning him once more towards the scent of distant bloodshed, a puppet master pulling the strings of its decaying marionette. He fought against giant beasts that emerged from the deep earth, their hides tougher than stone. The battles would last for weeks, a grinding war of attrition where the knight's only advantage was that he could not be broken and he could not die. He battled alongside armies and against them. He became a tool for tyrants who could somehow bind him to their cause for a time, and a force of nature that shattered their legions when their purpose no longer aligned with the armor's thirst for war. He was a constant, a bloody anchor in the shifting tides of history. The armor itself became a historical artifact, its appearance changing as it incorporated pieces of armor from its most worthy foes. It was a walking tapestry of war, each dent, each scratch, each new plate a testament to a life it had extinguished. Is there any hope for Sir Cailan? Can the curse be broken? The ancient texts that speak of the armor's creation also hint at a single desperate possibility, that the armor can only be destroyed by the same celestial fire in which it was forged. To find it would mean a quest to the highest peaks of the world, to the very spot where the star fell millennia ago, a place now guarded by celestial guardians or warped by the arcane energies of the impact, a final, impossible battle. Perhaps this is the armor's true purpose, not just endless, mindless battle, but a final pilgrimage, a journey to the one place that can grant it the ultimate contest, a fight against forces that might finally be its equal, and in doing so grant its prisoner the sweet release he has craved for 1,000 years. And so the immortal knight walks on, no longer just a wanderer, but a pilgrim. The ghost of Sir Cailan, in a rare moment of control, directs the rusted shell towards the distant peak. It is a desperate gamble, a final flicker of hope in an eternity of darkness, a march towards either ultimate destruction or perhaps a long overdue peace.